as always, before we begin, I would like to start off the evening by introducing NoMAA's Stroll Coordinator and Inwood's very own, Martin Collins, who has a special statement to share with us tonight. Martin.
Thank you, Neria. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We are very proud to promote an uptown treasure, Lino Press, this evening. They are powering our program tonight. Lino Press is at 4482 Broadway near West 192nd Street. They're open late every day, closed on Sundays, and they are the best printing service in New York City. Lino Press produces a wide variety of marketing materials, business cards, banners, custom brochures, menus, posters, and much, much more. Lino Press also provides clients with web design and social media services, digital and offline printing, copying services, outdoor printing, and graphic design. And they have printed NoMAA's materials, including Uptown Arts Stroll posters and promotional items since 2004. Please visit Lino Press on their Instagram and their website, linopressnyc.com. We are very grateful to and thank Lino Press for powering our program this evening, Thursdays with NoMAA and Drums Along the Hudson. Neria?
Thank you, Martin, and we are so happy to promote our friends at Lino Press. Welcome again. I am Neria Leyva Gutierrez, Executive Director of NoMAA. And once again, we are all here tonight on my favorite day of the week. Before I begin, I wanted to take a minute to mention last week's program with Elizabeth Starchevich, who, as always, is here with us tonight. I see you. I think that we, and there were about 60 of us last week, can all agree that the evening, despite its very unceremonious ending, was beautiful, inspirational, and overall just fantastic. And so it was particularly unnerving and also so intrusive to have had our space breached in the way that it was. And I wanted to thank the many of you who reached out to us in support. I think it was also unexpected since we have had to date over 20 programs without incident. But if this period has taught me anything, it's to savor the joyful moments. It's to be grateful for what we have, despite this complicated and sometimes very sad and uncertain backdrop. And so we are so grateful for programs without interruption, grateful for all of you, and grateful for Elizabeth, who, by the way, I did not let off the hook, as you see, with the rapid fire questions. And in fact, she and I got together this week and had a nice conversation, and she let me ask a round of rapid questions that she answered with honesty and joy. Please look for them on our website where they are archived, and thanks to Michelle, attached to the evening's program. Thanks for your graciousness, Elizabeth. And on the subject of thanks, we are grateful to Charter Spectrum for supporting tonight's program, and we are incredibly thankful for tonight's evenings of featured performers. We have with us tonight Drums Along the Hudson and 3 extraordinary performers who will share their talents with us this evening. Drums Along the Hudson, a Native American festival and multicultural celebration, was established in 2002, thanks to a generous grant from the New York City Department of Cultural Affairs and Kamala Mohawk Cesar, Executive and Artistic Director of Lotus Music and Dance, along with co-producer Carl Nelson and New York City Parks Department. In its origin, Drums Along the Hudson began as a traditional powwow to bring together and celebrate Native American heritage and culture, and also to commemorate the Lenape people, who first inhabited caves of Inwood Hill Park before the arrival of explorer Henry Hudson in 1609. The first spring event, which drew 400 visitors, marked the beginning of an annual event, and each year growing and expanding to include many different commemorative experiences, including a riverfish shad tasting, a white pine tree planting, which is an Iroquois symbol of peace, international foods, drums, dancers, and a Native American arts and education initiative. Today, over 8,000 visitors have attended these vibrant annual events, and they have come to watch performers like our first participant tonight, Makalina Gallagher. Born and raised in and around the Pacific Islands, Makalina has been a teaching artist for the past 25 years and is an original performer with Drums Along the Hudson. She also serves as part of the administrative staff for Lotus Music and Dance. She earned her BA in theater and drama at Fordham University and has studied ballet, jazz, modern, and tap in New York City. She has also performed with the Tiny Bubble Band and her Hawaiian Express dancers on multi-stations, including at the Manhattan Center for Bette Midler's 4th annual Hula Ball. Among her many accomplishments, her dancers in the Tiny Bubble Band were featured on MTV's Beach House to promote the movie American Wedding, and were also seen in Times Square promoting Fox 5's North Shore, as well as at the Flea Theater benefit. She is the organizer of the New York City Ukulele Meetup Group and teaches Polynesian dance at Lotus Music and Dance. And this semester, she is teaching Hula Zoom at Sarah Lawrence University. We are so happy to have Makalina with us here tonight, and she will be the first of our 3 performers from Drums Along the Hudson. Makalina, the stage is yours.
Aloha and welcome. And I've been with Drums Along the Hudson since its inception, when Kamala Cesar had started it. So besides a performer capacity, I also did the teaching artists, booking arts and education on their tents there. So it's always been a great pleasure to have the Drums Along the Hudson's annual event and being part of it. So I have a few videos here to show you of what my group has done. And it'll be a couple of hulas and a Tahitian number or 2. So the first number, it would be what we call the Hana Chant. It's a celebration chant, and it talks about a place on the island of Maui. On the second number, we go to Tahiti. Tahiti, they do a drum dance, which is done military style. So they're all in lines and everything. And the second Tahitian number is a modern one called Tangata Huru Huru, talking about the people on the island atoll of Taumotu. Then we go back to Hawaii, and from there, we talk about Ano Ai Ku'uwehi, which is a mele aina, a song about the land.
He puona ona na ali ka hua manu no kamehameha e ia no no ka hua manu no kamehameha ha he o hanala ha he o hanala Eya, eya la, eya, eya la, heyo, ohana la, heyo, ohana la, eya, eya la, eya, eya la, kupu kuikila, kupu kuikila, ho ila, kupu kuikila, ho ila, kule lokila nila. Kule lokila nila, hey pua ona la, pua ona la, kule lokila nila, hey pua ona la, pua ona la, na aliina, yo, na aliina, yo, kahumanula. No kamehameha, kahumanula, no kamehameha. Eia no no, kahuamanu, no kamehameha. ia no o Hana. Ano ai ku'uwehi. Ho'o makau-kau? Ki'ipa? Ano ai? Ano ai ku'uwehi la eka ua kanile hua. Ki'ipa? Ano ai? Ano ai ku'uwehi vehila I ka ua kanile hua kipa Puanani Puanani ka le hua la no hilo hana kai kipa Puanani Puanani ka le hua la no hilo hana kai kipa Aoku ipo iala I ke kaia o moku ola kipa Aoku ipo iala I ke kaia o moku ola kipa Kui ia me ke alala I ke hala o puna kipa Kui ia me ke alala o na hala o puna kipa Haina mai ka puanala I ka ua kanile hua kipa Haina mai ku vehila I ka ua kanile hua kipa lava Mahalo.
It's beautiful. Can you hear me? Okay, good. That was beautiful. Makalina, I wanted to ask you, that's your voice we hear, yes? Singing?
Yes.
Oh, it's so beautiful. So you're a dancer and a singer as well. And so you bring these together. Do you do both simultaneously in your own performances?
You mean dance and sing at the same time?
Yes.
No, you either sing and play
you sing
ukulele and dancers dance, or I dance to either a band or recorded music.
Wonderful. And then I had another question. I'm always so struck when I watch hula and the connection with the physical environment and the natural world. And I know you've been teaching on Zoom this semester at Sarah Lawrence. How do you transmit that? What are the challenges that you're facing teaching on Zoom and sort of trying to convey the importance of that with your dancers?
Well, I sent them a little curriculum or syllabus, and you start with a little history on the hula, and then you show the movements. It's not easy, when you're teaching dance online as opposed to teaching dance in front of people. But the students are, they're very interested, and they seem, to receive it well. You just have to take things slower, and you have to demonstrate things a little slower, especially to new students. I mean, I have an ongoing class with older students that I've had for years, and we just go through it all. But for newer students, you just have to take things slower and try to explain certain hand positions and show them that,
Right. We have a couple of questions here. I know Liz has a question. Liz, do you want to ask? I think you need to ask to be unmuted.
Yes. When you were singing, what were you saying?
Oh, okay. So we'll go to the last one. I can see that's when your question popped up.
Mm-hmm.
I heard that's when I read though. And it taught most of the songs or the chants in Hawaiian, in the Hawaiian language. It talks about daily life routine. They honor, their gods, they honor the people, they honor the land. So this one, Ano Aiku Uvehi, it honors a certain chief in a certain area on the island of the Big Island near Hilo. And it's just a way of life. And there's also a second meaning to it. It talks about love, you know, there's images. So you talk about, you greet your love to this area, this landmass. You talk about the beautiful flowers, but the beautiful flowers is compared to a person, how you love that flower, how you love that person. You know, you talk about the sea, Mokuola, the sea that goes into the island's bay, Hilo Bay, and the smell of the flowers, and you just tell everybody about your love of this land or your love of this person.
Thank you. I also didn't realize that my entire life I have been mispronouncing the word ukulele.
Yes.
My bad.
Yeah. Yes. I think Elizabeth has a question. Elizabeth, I think you need to ask to unmute. There you go.
The dances are really wonderful, and I wonder, how did they come to you to study, and where do you teach them? Are you in a particular place? I mean,
Well,
that was the celebration of Drums on the Hudson, but where did they come and study with you?
they've been studying with me for some of them over 5 years. You know, I teach when Lotus had their studios. I was teaching hula there. Actually, I was teaching hula for my dance company in a studio called Henry Latang's. If everyone kind of remembers who Henry Latang was, he was a tap dancer. And then Kamala and her husband showed up there looking for a space for their studio and their company, Lotus Music and Dance. And that's how I met them. And so they, I became part of their staff. They advertise, students come.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Makalina. That was truly beautiful and so joyful. And I think we remarked when we saw you this evening on this dreary fall rainy day to see all those beautiful colors that you're adorning you is really lovely. So thank you for bringing that to us tonight as well.
Mahalo.
I want to introduce now our second performer, Sol la Argentinita, who is a Buenos Aires-born flamenco dancer, who over the last 10 years has emerged as one of the leading flamenco dancers, choreographers in New York, a scholarship recipient of the Jerome Foundation's Travel and Study Grant and the Jacob Pillows Cultural Traditions Program. Sol has been described by the New York Times as seductively aggressive and by Theater Online as a master of her craft. She has performed at illustrious venues such as Lincoln Center, Town Hall, Symphony Space, and the Joyce Theater, and has been featured in the pre-production of Tony Award-winning Christopher Gattelli's In Your Arms, Zorro the Musical, Carmen, and Traviata, as a choreographer and solo dancer for Portland Opera's production of Carmen, and has toured the U.S. as a solo dancer and singer and choreographer for the world-renowned Gala of the Royal Horses. More recently, she has been featured in the multimedia production of Medea by Yara Travieso, was the principal dancer and choreographer for the Flamenco Fusion with Latin Grammy maestro Raul Jaurena and multi-instrumentalist singer prodigy Diego Amador at the Thalia Theater. In addition to performing, directing, and choreographing, she is also an accomplished teacher, having traveled the country giving both master and youth classes as well as residencies in Flamenco Vivo, Alvin Ailey, Young Audiences, Brooklyn Arts Council. She is an instructor as well as Mark Morris Dance Group faculty. So we'll be dancing in the production of Carmen at the Metropolitan Opera. So you're next.
Thank you, Nidia. Hello, everybody. Hola. And thank you for inviting me and doing this. This festival is my favorite. I wait all year for this festival because I got to see, the other artists. It's like such a wonderful day. And yeah, a celebration, really, really, really. And yeah, so I've been doing it for a few years, and I've known Makalina for a long time. So good to see you. And yes, so flamenco is the music, song, and dance from Andalusia, the south of Spain, but it has multicultural influences. You're gonna see a little video too right now. And the guitarist was Rafael Brun. He's an amazing guitar player who lives in New York. And then I was with Adriana Olivares dancing, and myself. And Juan Pedro Jimenez from Cadiz. And yeah, flamenco is all about expressing emotions and through rhythm, and it is mostly improvised. So I'm gonna shut up now and let's watch the video and we can keep talking.
pregunté qué tiene y qué está teniendo. Yo le pregunté qué tiene y qué está queriendo. Mira, ay, pido, 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 yo que una mi madre me pongo yo. Una mi madrecita me pongo, yo me pongo, pido, pido, ay, ay, que te quiero, te quiero, te quiero. Ay, no doy cuenta, no te lo. Bueno, 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 ay, madre, madre, ay, madre, madre, que yo vi a de agua no cae. Ay, madre, madre, ay, madre, madre, que yo vi a de agua no cae. Que yo vi a de agüita no cae. Pa, para, pa, pa, para, pa, pa. Agüita, agüita, no cae, no cae, no cae. Cae, cae, la cae, cae, cae. No, 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 no.
Yeah, somebody asked like what he was thinking about. In flamenco is not really tell like a story like I believe in Indian dance they talk stories with their hands. In flamenco is all about expressing emotions. So we have some deep songs that are a little more sad. That piece that you saw, it was an alegría, so it's happiness. So usually talks about the beach and to be with your family and be in a happy place. And yeah, now that it's the first time that I see that, I'm like, wow, I miss to be on a stage. I gotta say that Lotus Music and Dance has been a huge supporter for me over the years. And this festival also is something that we look forward to really perform, and that's because that's for me also is like a way to express my feelings, and it's really what it's about.
It's beautiful. I think we're all feeling that tonight. I know Liz mentioned that too. That sort of just that need, to see, to just to be feel this and hear this and see this. I think one of the things that's always struck me about flamenco, and I spent a few summers visiting a friend of mine who was teaching English in Cordova, so and Sevilla. We spent a lot of time there with him during feria and that kind of a thing. The thing that always struck me about flamenco is that you could have this you could be so invested in the solo performance, right? And you just and the crescendos and the lulls and all of these moments, but it's so interactive, despite sort of the focus on the one person who's I guess kind of transmitting all of the emotion, like just sort of channeling it through dance. There's so much going on around it, and I always find that so interesting about and so when you talk about and you answered, I think because the question was, what is this about? You said about life. It sort of seems like the appropriate metaphor for what we're watching, right? Which I just think
And
is so
usually it's all improvised.
right. Yes,
So
I think that was
we
a
feel
question.
each other. When the guitar is going, it's like you have to be paying attention. And yeah, obviously when the dancer stands up and we have, the llamadas and with the palmas, we kind of, we can speed up, but yeah, it's all about feeling each other. And it really like for all the dances, I think, but especially for flamenco, is like the audience is such a big part. Also, if like they do the ole and just it's like it helps quite a lot, and like, because it usually comes from the tablao setting, a small setting like the true flamenco, and yeah, so it's very nice in that way, yeah.
Yeah, I think that's sort of the theme. I see Regina asked that question about how much is the dance, improvised, how much is it sort of standard, and Liz is asking sort of the same thing, reading the room, right? Yeah, I think you have to be in touch. You have to be in the moment.
Yes,
You have to
yes.
be
And the
present.
person doing the hand clapping, the palmas in the back is as important as the dancer. In Spain, there is people that actually made a living doing the palmas. So it is really very important. Yes, yes. But the main thing in flamenco is the singer, is the flamenco singer. So it's like the dancer adorns and adore the singing. Yeah.
Oh, that's wonderful. Thank you so much, Sol. That was really
Thank
remarkable.
you. So good to see everybody. Thank you. Gracias.
We have our third performer with us here tonight. We have John Scott Richardson, a member of the Halawa Saponi tribe and an active voice in the Native artistic community. His maternal lineage is Nan Simone Tutelo Saponi, and paternal lineage is Meherin Tascarora, and he is a graduate of Atlantic Christian College with a degree in psychology and a double minor in commercial art and business administration. He began his work in theatrical arts through the writing and directing of youth advocacy plays. He has a strong passion for storytelling and for changing and considering the perspective of Native people. He has recently stepped into the role of theater program director with Amarinda Indian Arts, directing his first double feature radio play, It Came From Across the Big Pond, and Files of the Indian Police. He also tours as a percussionist with the contemporary Native musical group Transitions Beyond Tradition. He has performed at North Carolina Museum of History and Duke Energy Performing Arts Center. He has also appeared on the 2012 Comedy Central Awards with Chevy Chase and Norm Macdonald, and award-winning independent films, Guns, Booze, and Bullets, and Fall of the Hunter's Moon. His prior work includes performing on Broadway and off-Broadway productions. He is a SAG Union actor in The Heart Stays and The Politician, both Netflix, and several other feature films, TV shows, and theater productions. His passions are working with young people. Those are his roots, with American Indian culture and traditions. And above all, he values family. John is here with us tonight. John, you're up.
Oh, Palea, Biwa, thank you. I just want to open up with a little something. Yo, way, yo, hey, hey, yo, hey, hey, yo, yane. Yo, way, yo, yane. Way, oh, hey, yo, hey, hey, yane. Yo, way, yo, yane. Way, oh, hey, yo, hey, hey, yane. Yo, way, yo, yane. All right, since we're talking about Drums Along the Hudson, that's one of our canoe songs that I just sung there. Thank you very much for that introduction. My name is John Scott Richardson, as was told, and I am the current theater program director at Amarinda. I've also worked with Kamala at Lotus Music and Dance and Makalina, actually helping to secure some of the vendors at Drums Along the Hudson. And upon moving to New York, I was very fortunate and very proud to join up with a drum group that is also a supporter of Drums Along the Hudson, which is Silver Cloud Singers. And we are a traditional Southern drum group. It's a family drum. It also, basically I sung with them, so we would come and we would be part of the powwow portion that Drums Along the Hudson had, which was the original part of their programming. I loved the program. I always thought it was wonderful to bring the various communities together centered around the drum. Because as I am taught from Indigenous American Indian perspective, the drum is the heartbeat of our people, right? And this is where our stories lie. This is where our culture lies. This is where our future lies, as well as our past, but more so our future. And to see every culture from the far west to the east, the islands, every culture in a traditional sense has at the base is a drum, right? And from there, other instruments like wind instruments and string instruments come, but the drum is the basis of just about every culture there is across the globe. And so that brings us together because we all, whether we may look different or feel different or speak different or dress different, we all have one thing that is extremely in common. I mean, and that is everyone has a heartbeat, right? We all have a rhythm in us. And that heartbeat is our connection to our ancestors as well as to our future, but that connects us all as human beings, right? And a lot of times, especially in times like now, such chaos, Drums Along the Hudson brought people together that recognize that human spirit, right? And that connectedness that we all share. And that's very powerful. And so I've always been fortunate to be a part of the program. I know there's some dances that are going to be coming up. They're going to talk about the women's traditional dance, which is one of the oldest dances that the women do. It's a very sacred dance. It's a very dance of honor and the place that women hold in our community. Most of our societies are matriarchal, and so we hold the women. They have leadership roles in the community, right? And so there's also going to be a hoop dance that's going to be shown, which is a celebration of life, right? The circle is a celebration of endless joy, right? It's no broken spot, and we come together and celebrate. So the hoop dance is centered around that. And a lot of the symbols that you see that the dancer creates are things that we celebrate in our natural world, in our natural universe, like the butterfly or the planet or the eagle, right? These are things that hold a reverence with our people. And also there's a feather dance. Now, in a lot of Native cultures, we love to have fun, right? But also our fun and a lot of our dances are structured around instruction and learning, right? And that's how we teach our young people to do things like, hunt or do a skill or develop a task. We create a game around it, right? So the feather dance teaches agility. It teaches discipline, right? It teaches how to figure out, how to figure things out. A lot of things people do today, they don't spend any time trying to figure out how to do it, right? They just press a button and it's done. So sometimes in our culture, the elders would create things that would structure and help people to learn, help young people to learn. And then last is our intertribal dance, right? And intertribal dances, we bring people together from all nations, right? We don't see division because in traditional Six Nations language, Akwianwe is a word for the people. There's no separation, right? We don't see things as this person, that group. So when we say our intertribal dances, this is our unit of bringing our nations together to celebrate coming into the circle, celebrating each other, celebrating what maybe slight differences we have, but celebrating all these things as a human culture. Now, this is the women's traditional dance that you're watching now. So I'm going to turn the program over to them to watch the dance. Thank you.
So first we dance around the feather. Get ready. Get ready. We're going to go down and pick the feather up. Here we go. But we have a very wonderful hoop dancer here today. This is Michael Taylor, or Dancing Wolf, and he's from the Choctaw people of Oklahoma, and he'll be our hoop dancer today.
Right. That's wonderful.
Oh,
Wonderful.
beautiful. That was so wonderful. John, something you said really, a couple of things you said really struck me. One was the idea that we all share a heartbeat, right?
Yes.
And we all, so
Yes.
we all share this inner rhythm. And I
Yes.
love that concept. What a beautiful idea, right? I mean,
Yes.
just to
Yes.
take that into the world, you know, we all share that rhythm.
Yes.
And the other thing, and just watching this tonight, I think you drove the point home, that idea of the circle as endless joy. I
Yes.
mean, that was on view. I don't think I'll ever look at a hoop the same way, you know? I mean, you just saw that, right?
Right.
As
Right.
the evening. So many beautiful comments in the chat, and so many, you know, I think really just interesting observations and insights. And I think overall that general sense of joy and sharing. And you know, I think I mentioned to you this before, we always close out our program with rapid fire questions. So I want to ask you one specifically. So I said I would put these up for grabs for anyone who wants to take them, but this one's for you. So you talk a lot, and it's sort of been a general theme throughout the evening, the appreciation and the homage to one's ancestors, right? The ancestral tradition.
Right.
But then you're all teachers, and you're all working with young generations, and you're advocates for youth.
Right.
So here's a question for you, and I'm so interested in hearing what you had to say. If you had a time machine, would you travel back in time, or would you go forward in time?
Well, good one. Well, we tend to, when we think about what we do now, right, as human beings, we stand for what our actions are governed based on the next 7 generations. Okay, so that's looking forward. But if you also look at our life as in totality, we see things circular, right? Nothing is not connected to something. And so that ancestral lineage that is passed down through our DNA in our cells, whether we are mentally connected to it or not, it still is tied back, right? So it's almost like we do when we go through our ceremonies. We actually mentally go in time back to see what we can do for our future. Like, how do we move forward, right? So it's not unconnected. It's all passed through our lineage of ancestral past, but we can heal from today, right? We can start today to heal traumas in the past. But if we don't, we're going to continue that cycle, right, of trauma. But we can also develop a new cycle of healing. So it's kind of, it's all one and the same.
So your time machine it's not a linear time machine. No. It's a circular one.
It's circular one, yes.
That's okay. So now you've changed the question for me. Okay, I like that. Nice work. That's good. Okay, so which one of you wants to take this? What are you looking forward to doing post quarantine or post whatever we are, wherever we are right this moment? What is that thing that you're thinking right now?
To probably be able to teach live in person.
Yeah.
Or, you know, perform live in person.
Yeah.
You know, or, you know, see people.
Right. Yeah. There's nothing like that audience and just being, I think, you know, feeding off of them, right? It's like, you know, what Sol was talking about. It's, you know, you draw your energy from, you know, your pupils or from the audience, or, you know, you sort of move accordingly, right? Just based on that interaction. Yeah, no, I understand that. That makes a lot of sense to me too. Okay, who wants to take this one? What's the last meal that you had that was the most memorable? takeout, last great dinner party at a family house.
It was my nephew's graduation, and we went to Crafty Crab.
Oh, nice. That's
Food
nice.
was good.
No, what's funny? I was talking to my husband. So the oyster bar closed, right? And that was my last, like, just right before the shutdown meal in the city. We were on our way to BAM, and we stopped there, and that was it. Oysters. So, you know, yeah. Okay, who wants to take this? What is on your ideal playlist? Music. Who are you listening to? Oh, John wants this one.
I listen to all drummers. Like that's generally all I listen to for the most part. I listen to Southern singing, Northern singing. There's several styles of drum singing, and there's also solo artists that sing, like Fawn Wood. She's a beautiful solo singer. You know, I listen to Silver Cloud singers. I listen to Thunderbirds. I listen to, oh my gosh, Yellowhammer. I listen to Zotai and Kozad. But I'm always listening to drum songs because it's something about that arrangement of the way our elders arrange their music, right? They compose. A lot of people ask, well, what are they saying? Are they singing in their language? And it's a variation of a lot of both. They sometimes use traditional words in songs, but then sometimes there's a vowel vocal arrangement that creates a harmony, right? That may be indicative of an intention for a song. So like a celebration or a memorial or something like that, right? But then again, there are some songs that have words, which a lot of those songs preserve the words from tribal language, right? Because a lot of the language has been lost or stripped from our people. So because of the boarding school system, right, that was implemented. And so that language is a way that they preserve that language from their community. And, you know, we only have probably, you know, maybe a couple hundred communities now still left that speak their original language. I mean, you look at originally there was about 30,000 different tribal languages and variations pre-contact. Now there's maybe not even 700 probably languages left. So it's very important that we preserve that in our singing. So yeah, I listen to the music as much as I can, even though I might not understand words from, say, the Kiowa community or, you know, the Arapaho community, but hearing it still resonates in my spirit, right? So it's important. So.
Yeah, no, that's right. I think music does that. You know, in my house, we early on, you know, bilingual Spanish, but it was probably the best way to teach our children the language, just having them listen to music, right? And then they were invested in a way that, you know, we didn't even realize how invested they were just by you know, that you intuit it in a way, right? And so it really is a wonderful way to make those connections. And if you don't even understand it, you're still getting something out of it, right? Absolutely, I agree with that. So I think the comment here is there an opportunity to comment and reflect and not necessarily answer a specific question? So I think that's a wonderful way to wrap up tonight. What if each of you just sort of gave sort of a reflection on tonight or on your trajectory, what you do, the value that it has in your lives, and what you seek to do, and how you seek to take that out into the world. I'd love to just sort of wrap up with a little bit of that. So let's start with Makalina, since you were our first guest tonight, and then we'll go to Sol, and then we'll end with John, if that works.
Well, watching the drums, you know, footage, it just made me realize how much I miss drums. And I wish one day that we'll be able to come back and do drums all over again. That's my comment.
Thank you for that. Sol.
Yeah, I feel very fortunate to be here with all of you and to do what I love, flamenco, and to I love music, dance, and it just makes me so happy. And I'm in Spain right now, and I couldn't go back, but I live in Brooklyn. So yeah, I'm feeling a little nostalgic, but happy at the same time. And yeah,
Where are you in Spain?
I'm in Barcelona.
There are worse places to be. That's wonderful. Well, we look forward to you coming back to New York. John, do you want to do our final reflection tonight?
Yes. Just a word, just to try to stay positive. Embrace the core of humanity, which is we're all human beings. We're all here as caretakers of this planet, not just the Lenape-Hoken area here in Manhattan, but all over where we are, right? And and how do we live with the planet? Not live to subject the planet, but live with the planet, and just be able to cultivate a place for our young people that they will have a future, right? This is so important to think about what we do that's going to make it better for them, not just providing jobs, but just a mindset of how do we live with each other and embrace these good things that we have. And that's really kind of my mission as an artist, as a new director, as a actor, is that I want to be involved in telling these stories that's going to uplift people and bring people together, right? I mean, we have enough hurt and pain going on, and we all need joy. And I think what we do here is reflective of the true spirit of a human being. It's in music, it's in dance, it's in celebration. And that's usually what programming wants to end, is they want to end all the arts in schools and music in schools and all of it. But these are the things that make us alive, that bring us together. And so I really commend you. I'm honored to be a part of this program. Thank you for putting this together. And it's touched so many people, and I hope it continues to do so.
So much. What a wonderful way to close out the evening. And what a great reminder that we all have those heartbeats, right?
Yes.
We just do. And we really do. And that's just a beautiful idea. And as you said, we'll take it out to the young people, because they're next and they can use
Yes.
it. And we could use something that they
Yes.
bring to the world these
Yes.
days. So thank you for that. Thank you. This was beautiful and wonderful. And again, such a great reminder of how important, these experiences are, and sharing our cultural experiences, sharing our heartbeats. And I'm just going to say that again, because it really is a wonderful way to look at the world. Thank you all for being here. We really do appreciate all of you. I'm going to turn the mic over to Martin, who has a few closing remarks. Martin, do you want to close it up for us tonight?
Yes, thank you, Neria. Thank you, everyone, for joining us this evening. We want to invite you to please read the Northern Manhattan Arts Alliance newsletter on our website, NoMAA.nyc.org, for artist opportunities and upcoming events, including tomorrow, Friday, October 30th at 1 p.m., right in time for Halloween, Graves, Burials, and Skeletons of Northern Manhattan. That's at 1 o'clock tomorrow. At 3 p.m., Inwood Artworks Short Film Fridays, and at 7:30, Friday Night Jazz at Kismet. And on Halloween at 1:30 p.m., New York Restoration Project presents Halloween Fall Festival at Sherman Creek. And NoMAA has a very exciting collaboration with Bread and Yoga, Movement, Yoga, and Breath. The series debuts on November 8th. Please see our website, NoMAA.nyc.org, for details. And we invite all of you to join us again to meet photographer and UPS store owner Tony Lopez on Thursdays with NoMAA at 7:30 p.m. Thursday, November 5th, powered by Pop and Pour on Dyckman Street. Everyone, have a great weekend.
Thank you, everybody. Have a wonderful evening.